Hello, everyone. There we are. It's the 11th annual edition of the Socially Relevant Film Festival, New York. And this is our first edition, first session of Meet the Filmmakers today. And we are going to talk to a number of interesting filmmakers who have come to us with a number of shorts, which we have programmed into two wonderful programs. One of them is on the occasion of Black History Month, and the other one is under the title of BIPOC Films, Black, Indigenous, People of Color Films and Filmmakers. So let me just tell you a couple of words about the Socially Relevant Film Festival. The Socially Relevant Film Festival is a film festival that has been in existence for 11 years, like I already mentioned. And one moment, I'm trying to... yeah. Okay. Well, I have a problem with Instagram, so we won't be on Instagram. It's okay. Don't worry about it. We are broadcasting live on our YouTube channel, and it is also simulcast on our Facebook page. We will eventually take clips of it and put them up on our Instagram posts. So it's okay. You can follow them like that. I think Sophia has solved her problem with the sound, so we'll bring her on. And here we are. We have a bunch of wonderful young filmmakers who have made short films on the topics of Black History Month and also BIPOC films. We are going to talk to them each in turn, but let me just say that the Socially Relevant Film Festival has been in existence for 11 years now. And in our 11-year existence, we have programmed over 700 films from 40 countries, and we are so happy to be one of the best reviewed film festivals on Film Freeway. I hope that will still hold after we have done and finished with our 11th edition. And we are so happy today to talk with you all. So maybe we should take a quick round and everyone should introduce themselves. You have your names. Maybe we can put the title of your film in your name, if you can do that. If not, I can do it on my end. So we don't have to announce it each time. And then each time you're speaking, the audience will know which film you are referring to. So how should we start? Maybe Isaiah, would you like to be the first one?
Yeah, I can absolutely be the first one. So yeah, I'm Isaiah Fort Rose. I'm the writer and director of Forbidden Fruit.
Yep. Forbidden Fruit. It's a beautiful film, which is actually a narrative short. And it was so well made that I initially, when I watched it first, I thought it was a documentary. It was so real that you fooled me for a second. Okay, Nadia, you are representing.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nadia Faracho, and I am the youth media instructor for the film Gatekeeping the Bills.
Gatekeeping the Bills. And who are the youth? Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, I can tell you guys a little bit about them. So I work with EVC Educational Video Center, and we are an organization that teaches high schoolers around New York City documentary filmmaking. So they come together from different high schools all over the city, and they make a collaborative film. So the students have done all the research, chose the topic, they did interviews, they did a little bit of everything. So there's not only one director, there's everybody doing everything.
That's so cool. We have collaborated with EVC before. As I was telling you earlier, we have asked three young participants from EVC to come, and we live in a complex which has MRHS, which is it's called Morningside Heights, Morningside Health and Retirement Services. And it's a NORC, which is a naturally occurring retirement organization no, center, and we paired the youngsters off with elderly residents, and they did interviews with them about their lives, how it was in New York when they were young, when they moved in, and so on and so forth. And we put together the whole thing into a 10-minute video, and we showed it during the festival. So I'm familiar with your group. Safia, tell us
Hi, how are
about
you?
your.
Yes, my name is Sophia Songhai, and I'm the director, editor, and producer for Interception, Jane Kennedy, American Sportscaster. And it's a film about the trials and tribulations of the first African American woman to ever become a sportscaster in U.S. television, and all the onslaught of discrimination that she faced in pursuing something that they were not even auditioning for. She demanded a spot in the audition, and it was quite a circuitous route from that point on.
Yeah, that's cool. We have another person who has just joined us. So, Christina, right?
Kathleen Campbell.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Kathleen, yes. So, tell us about your film.
My film is called Am I Bugging? And it's based on a tremendous poem by Selena Hernandez. And it deals with gentrification in East Harlem. She grew up
Yes.
in El Barrio, loved it, and is seeing it disappear before her eyes. All right, and the poem deals with, just watching buildings being torn down, her community being destroyed by, people being displaced by, more profitable, more, well-heeled residents. And so what happens in the film is I take the words, inspired by the words of her poem, and we do an odyssey around East Harlem, showing both the places that still exist and also like buildings being torn down, the new ones, rising up.
Yeah,
monolithic
we will
high-rise.
revisit each film in detail. This is just one quick round to introduce ourselves.
Sure.
I am familiar because I live in Harlem, and I know every day I pass by and there is a hole where there were some small shops. It's gone, and suddenly there's a hole and fences, and some new building is coming up. It's unbelievable. And so when I saw your film first and I heard your poem in it, I really, really identified with it. And I felt, wow, we have to show this and talk about it. So
thank you for including my film, for sure. And also to Sophia, I'm old enough to remember Jane Kennedy.
Oh, wow.
Breakthrough. She really was. I'm a major sports fan.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, wow. Okay.
That is so cool. This is really great. As I mentioned at the beginning of our program, the films that we are talking about today are programmed into two short film blocks, 2 sessions. One of them is happening early on, before even the festival dates, because Black History Month is now, it's not in March. So we programmed on February 26th at 7 p.m. at MRHS. We have a group of the short films, and they are the following: Am I Bugging? Poetry is Not a Luxury, which is very interesting that it comes right after Am I Bugging? Forbidden Fruit, Isaiah's film, and Jane Kennedy, American Sportscaster. So these 4 films are screened as part of our Black History Month celebration at MRHS on Monday, the 26th of February, 7 p.m. All the information about where to find the tickets, where to find the venues, the schedule, and all this is on the festival website. And then gatekeeping the bills and about the people presents, who is Mumia. The person is not here, but maybe they will make an appearance later, are screening on the 13th of March at the Maisels Documentary Center, which is kind of the opening of the festival actual dates. So you guys who are presenting at the Black History Month celebration, you're doing kind of a preview before the festival dates. So this is really an honor to be able to do that. So there we go. I'm going to, so as you see, I'm scrolling the festival website so you can get more information on this. So I'm going to go into the round of asking the normal questions we ask all the time. And by the way, your friends or whoever is listening in, you can you can write us questions in the comments section. Please write your questions here. And then the filmmakers, you can tell us whether the question is for me or for the filmmakers, most probably the filmmakers who wants to talk to me anyway. so you can put the questions in the comment section and we will address them. So let me just go again in the same round, or maybe this time round we can open it so that whoever feels like jumping in should. My first question is, how did the idea of this film come to you, or why did you choose to tell us this particular story? Who wants to take a go?
I can take a go. So with this film, being that I'm the instructor, students have done pitches for these topics. So they decided on a topic, which they had to really brainstorm and think about. And it really resonated with a lot of the students' lives when thinking about income inequality and the wage gap and who it affects and our demographic in the classroom. So a lot of students seen their parents, go to work and work all their lives and work multiple jobs and still not able to make a good living. And so it really connected with a lot of the students. And so when it came down to pitching the topic, I think those students who did pitch, they did a really, really good job. They did a lot of research and showed how Black women and Latino women make like $1 to like a few cents to every white man's dollar. So it really just kind of left a stain on the students, and they really enjoyed exploring the topic.
Yeah, and they did a very good job. You would think that how would they go about researching such a topic, but they were very, very thorough about it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't leave any stones unturned and asked the right questions and put the whole thing together in a coherent manner. So we're really, really proud of that. And I hope they all show up. I think they are all New Yorkers, aren't they?
Yep, they
Yeah,
are.
hopefully they'll all show up and answer the audience's questions. So it will be such a cool opportunity to hear them out. Okay, so who wants to talk about their film next?
Well, I'll jump in.
Okay.
Apologies of being a few minutes late because I was actually shooting something for my next project, which also deals with gentrification because they're tearing down row houses across the street from me. So I'm documenting that process. And so I've been interested in the idea of displacement, particularly in Harlem, for a long time because I'm a longtime Harlem resident. But I heard Selena's poem, which is so powerful that, I figured like rather than just being in a room full of people who are interested in poetry, whether it's a poetry slam, and she actually recited the poem at an art exhibit that I was in, I would like to share her poem with many more people who are also experiencing the same issue. It's a problem nationwide, but particularly in Harlem and in East Harlem, you're only beginning to see what's going to happen. Before the 2nd Avenue subway opens, it's going to completely transform Harlem.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
absolutely.
The line from the movie is "You ain't seen nothing yet," okay? Because one of the reasons why East Harlem was late to gentrify was because so much of it is inconvenient in terms of the subway system. All right, I mean, there are many, many more blocks to get to after Lexington Avenue. I mean, the city goes on, but now that's about to be blown away. So
Yeah.
this community that's been home, it's primarily, to started out Puerto Ricans, then it also became Mexican and also additional Central American communities with a small but influential African American population, say goodbye because, you're not going to be able to afford to live there. Even if you are, the services and the businesses that you like to, patronize before, they're all gone. The community cultural organizations that did not buy their buildings when they had a chance, which is to say, did they really have a chance because they didn't have any money back in the day either? They certainly aren't going to be able to afford the rents. So,
Yeah. This is a very sad reality that is happening nowadays. And last year we had a feature film, There Goes the Neighborhood, which was exactly about the same topic. And it's interesting that you chose to tell your story through poetry, which is very rare because, you can do a documentary film and go and document and talk to people and so on and so forth. But when it's poetry, it kind of elevates it and attracts more attention to it.
I'm
And
hoping that, yeah, but the funny thing is that a lot of festivals don't know where to put it because it
well,
isn't a
we do.
documentary. Exactly. It's not a narrative. But, to piggyback off of what Nadia said, people don't have the words. What do you do? I mean, it's, people have it in private conversations. But
Yeah.
how do you express it? And you have to be a certain age in a way to express it. All right. Like the teenagers that she's talking about, how do they express that? This is the only world they know. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's, what do you do? So it's just, just to see it, and ironically, to document places that aren't even there anymore since we shot the film.
Yeah. But it's great that you're continuing to do this because this type of project, like talking about the change and the gentrification and so on, it's a lot more powerful as a series, as like, one after another, instead of just doing one off and that's it, because it's a topic that isn't going away tomorrow. It's going to be there for a while. And I am being here for myself, I can see it all around. Like I'm walking down the street and I see, I identified so much with your poem. It could have been something I wrote or whatever, It was so like, wait a minute, there was something here. Where is it now? It's like gone,
It's,
before you know it, overnight. You slept tonight and in the morning, it's not there anymore. So what are these people doing, coming and breaking down, I mean, pulling down buildings in the middle of the night? So it's really scary.
and also, let me say one other thing that you touched upon. My film can't do it all. Okay, so if many other people also make films that reflect their experience during this time, we may not be able to stop the process, but there's going to be a record for what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, in a different way, because it's happened in other places before, like urban renewal as in urban displacement. All right, urban removal is the other term that they use for urban renewal. And where are the voices from that time? I wouldn't know where to begin to find them.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
but there are other
And
people who are addressing this issue now.
landmarks disappear. So when landmarks disappear, people lose their identity. They don't know how to, even they lose their way. They don't know how to, wait a minute, there was a thing here that is no longer there. And I used to find my way because of this. And now I cannot find my way.
Find your way, and institutional memory, institutional richness.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things I love about New York in general, but Harlem in particular. I mean, if you know anything about Harlem history, all right, you'll know that you were walking in front of the place where Langston Hughes used to live. You were walking in front of, when you're talking East Harlem, I mean, stuff like Dizzy Gillespie, like where Harlem is, Central Harlem. If you're familiar with Latin jazz, that's because he walked across Harlem, literally, to El Barrio, because he overheard some musicians. Okay, and an entire musical genre is born.
Yeah.
Okay, same thing. I mean, hip hop, you're looking at, the birthplace of hip hop. Okay, outside of the Bronx, the whole uptown community. But I don't want to take up too much time, but when
Well,
you
we
lose
can
that,
come back
it's
because
like,
this is a very interesting topic, and somehow everybody's topic is interrelated because we're talking about race, we're talking about Black history, and it's all very much interrelated. Like Jane Kennedy is interrelated, Forbidden Fruit, which we will know more about, is interrelated, and also the gatekeeping bills. It's like, it's very important because gentrification is also having to do with the life becoming more expensive, more unaffordable for certain groups of people. And who are these people? Let's be honest, so we have to address that issue. So
I was going to say one
Sophia,
thing to transition. I know Sophia is next, but I mean, what happens when the person who should have been your mentor, okay, like other ethnic groups get to have mentors who aren't completely depleted, okay, what happens when the next sportscaster,
yeah,
Black woman, has to seemingly reinvent the wheel?
yeah.
Because what they did to the pioneers.
Yeah. So, Sophia, what about your film and how did your idea come about? Why did you pick on this story?
Sure. So I wanted to make a film about Jane Kennedy since I was in high school. I had really I wasn't like around when she was, like running after all her dreams, and everybody that I knew, like people in my family and stuff, they all had this faraway look in their eye when they talked about Jane Kennedy. And I'm like, who is this magical woman? Like, she seems so incredible. And so I always wanted to make a film about her, but I knew her as first a beauty pageant winner. Like, she was Miss Black Ohio. She was a Miss Ohio first. She was the second woman to ever compete in the Miss USA competition, and she was the first Black woman to be Miss Ohio. And then she also, of course, went into acting and modeling, and so I knew that side of her life. But there was a grant from Arizona State University for a film about sports related topics. And so I was thinking, I was like, well, I wonder who the first Black woman sportscaster was. I just didn't know. I was like, well, is it Robin Roberts or is it Melissa Ford? Like, who is that person? And so when I went to search to find that person, it was also Jane Kennedy. And I was like, wait a minute, I had no idea that I had no idea that was her, that she had accomplished that. So I reached out to her, and I thought it was going to be a really wonderful story of, I got the job and everyone lifted me on their shoulders and had a parade in my honor. And it was anything but that. And so we had a 5-hour interview about what she went through. And I was so devastated for her, all the things that she had to go through just to secure the position, let alone keep the position. And I used to be a TV news anchor and a news reporter and a TV producer and all those other everything TV related. I wasn't a sportscaster. I've covered sports, but I was not a sportscaster. I had done other aspects of like crime and justice and just daily TV news magazines. And so a lot of the stuff that she was saying, I had gone through myself. And so then I just realized how wrong, how devastating it felt to be the first person and then have all of this, there's no role model, there's no one that you can talk to help you traverse these landmines that people have waiting for you. And so I certainly knew some of what she went through, but she, of course, was a role model for me and many other women who went into broadcasting. And she's a living legend. She's here and she is still very active and, achieving all kinds of things. But I wanted to make this right for her. In addition to making the film, I wanted to then correct what was taken from her. And so this past Super Bowl, Jane Kennedy Overton hosted the pregame show for this past Super Bowl, along with Brent Musburger, who was her co-host on CBS NFL Today. And she had not been a sportscaster for decades. And she returned to her rightful position as a sportscaster. And but I came across this story because I was applying for the grant, and just out of curiosity, I wanted to know who the first sportscaster was, and that was indeed Jane Kennedy Overton. She's remarried now, and her last name is extended with her, her current family. And it was just, an amazing thing to see her on TV again as a result of, really pushing this film and letting people know what she endured, which many people are enduring in their respective jobs and their respective careers, where they find themselves as the only Black person in the room, the only Black person in their field, their profession, their university, whatever the situation is, they're the only one. And lots of people can relate to what she went through and the different attacks and I guess like the subtle things that are so-called microaggressions, but the very deliberate, large, big, massive boulders that people throw at you while you're just trying to not just pursue your passion, but achieve your purpose in this life. So, but that's where it came from, and I'm so glad that the grant makers awarded the film, and that it was
It's
only a
such a
$10,000
wonderful
grant.
story you're telling us, because it shows that when when we are passionate about a story and we want to tell it, it's also our duty to do it. It's not just, of course, that's why we love the filmmakers that come to the Socially Relevant Film Festival, because you guys pick on topics that nobody wants to hear about. You pick on topics that nobody is interested in seeing. And we love that, because we are the film festival who will program, who will show topics nobody wants to talk about. We will program topics nobody wants to see, because we believe in this mission. We believe that it's very, very important to tell these stories. And movie making is not about bang bang and explosions and running after each other, and the thief and the whatever, and games and things like that. It's such a powerful medium, and we have to be able to use it to offer people a better life, a better understanding of their history, of their surrounding, of their immediate reality. And this is the mission of real strong movie making, whether it's documentaries or narratives. And that's what we want to come to next by interviewing Isaiah about his film, which I was saying earlier on, it was so well acted and so well put together. I thought it was a documentary, but it is not. So tell us about it, Isaiah. How it came about and all the rest of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am from North Carolina. The South is my home. My family's based there, and I found a lot in mainstream media that Black culture in the South kind of seemed to get glossed over, except for in like, period pieces. And so I wanted to tell a contemporary story of what that's like, how we navigate racial like identity, how we're exposed to these macro and microaggressions at a very young age. And I was driving one day, and you'll see on these North Carolina roads many times just abandoned, dilapidated buildings and such like that. And I was driving, and I saw this very corroded and beautiful trailer that had been abandoned, and I was just daydreaming and thinking, well, what was the story that came before that was lost, that wasn't documented? As like very many humble and working class people have their stories lost. They don't have a voice that is put out there, that's not documented. And so I just started spinning with that, and I knew that something that's a problem in the South with our heavy culture of self-reliance is food deserts. And it's something that I hadn't seen tackled very often inside of media. And so I wanted to, in the span of this very short film, capture a few of those elements of what it would be like to have to rely on yourself from such a young age in order to kind of grow up quickly to navigate these heavy themes of food insecurity, race in the South. And I thought that this is people's lives. People are dealing with these issues. And I thought that a style that was very Cine Verte, documentary-esque, and felt as if we were peeking into just a day of a child navigating this, an 11-year-old Black boy, that I thought that that would be a way to open up that door for the conversation for people to have about these systemic issues that are afflicting like the South U.S.
Yeah, it was very powerful, to be honest. And the child did such a great job, He's really good. And how did you cast him?
Yeah, so Charles Batson, a fantastic actor. I am so thrilled that we found him. We ended up with a casting agent that had worked with other casting agents before, but this was kind of a little bit of their dip into doing it all on their own. They had put out feelers, and we found Charles in Atlanta, Georgia. We put him up to stay. We got him to audition online for us, and then we brought him in onto the project, and we were thrilled with his performance.
Yeah. It was really touching. I really loved the film. And as I was saying earlier, these are stories that need to be told. And if we don't tell them, who will? And if we don't program them, who will? So we take it upon ourselves to do just that. And that brings me to the next question. How did you all find out about the Socially Relevant Film Festival, and what are your expectations for in being programmed here? Maybe, whoever wants to jump in.
Sure. I mean, I found out about it just on Film Freeway, which is the only resource that any filmmaker will ever need to go and find the match for your film. And so, of course, it's aptly named. Socially Relevant is exactly a mission movement minded film festival, just in the title alone, the logo that you have, the color scheme, all of that. So I just knew that this would be a great match because like you said earlier, I'm definitely not a filmmaker that's just interested in a whole bunch of stuff happening on the screen. I want my film to push the needle. I want to change and make a different outcome in the current time as well as in the future. I am just as much an agent of change as anybody who is sitting on billions of dollars. I am just as much an agent of change as anyone who is sitting on all of weapons of mass destruction, because I have a camera and I can shape perception, I can shape reality, I can tell people stories, I can elevate certain stories over other stories. But in order to do that, I need an audience. And so when I saw the Socially Relevant Film Festival and the mission, in the write up on Film Freeway, I knew this was an excellent match for this project and probably every project I'll ever make in life.
That's nice. We want to see more. Exactly. That, which brings me to the next thing. All of you, please keep making the kind of movies you're making, because that's how we keep existing. We're nothing without the filmmakers. So I always like to emphasize that. And next, who wants to say something about how they came across our festival?
No, well, I'd heard of it before. I just hadn't been able to come to previous versions
Mhm.
from traveling for work. And so, I should have applied, but it's just, oh no, I missed the deadline. So
Well,
this time, finally,
and
you
this
know,
year we're also at the Maisel Cinema, which is right in Harlem. So it's really a cool place to be kicking off our festival's 11th edition. We've been there before. We were there on our second annual edition. This festival has been very interesting in the sense that we kept changing venues because venues kept closing on us. And every time we started at the Quad Cinema, and then the second year we wanted to go back there to do our second edition, and then they told us, oh, it's been sold, and now we are going to do a complete remodel. We cannot guarantee your dates. So we started looking for another venue. We found the Tribeca Cinema, and then we did our second edition, and then second edition at Measles and Tribeca. And lo and behold, the third year, the Tribeca building got sold, and the person who bought it didn't want the cinema there. God knows why. And we couldn't go back there. So it was like, kittens from one area to another until we finally found the Cinema Village. Hopefully, that's going to be our home forever. And we're there over weekends because now it's very difficult to do a full week's festival. After COVID, audience in person attendance has gone down dramatically, not just for us, for everybody. Everybody keeps complaining of the same thing. People got lazy. They like to sit at home and watch a screen, just like we are doing now. But, a festival is not a festival without the human interaction and the networking and the happy hours and all the fun things we do, which we have. So fortunately, we were able to survive the 2 COVID years and come back with a hybrid edition. So now we have both the in-person and the online section. And the online section is not bad at all because it allows an opportunity to people who cannot come, whether they are in the United States or even overseas, who cannot come to New York during the festival week to actually see these films. So it gives them a chance to grab them online. And anyone else on this topic?
I think, as you said before, our organizations have crossed paths in the past, which is really nice that we have that kind of relationship, because our organization, we aim to do social justice films forever. That's literally the purpose of the organization, is to teach students how to make documentary films through and talk about social justice issues. So it's really nice that what you guys are doing, and that we're able to continue to find like our lane within film festivals to go down every time we make a film.
Yeah, because I really look at this as an opportunity. You were bringing it up as the weapons of mass destruction. This is a mass weapon of mass construction, I would say. And we are lucky to be able to use this weapon. And what a missed opportunity it would be if we end up telling, I don't know, trivial stories that or give people a headache. You come into the movie theater to learn something and you come out with a headache, or and impoverished instead of enriched in your life. So hopefully this festival will go on and make a difference. And even if it's 5 people each year, then it's 5 people gained. And I'm sure we have had more than 5 people every year, because so far we've programmed 700 films from 40 countries in the 11 years of our existence. And I counted that one day because I felt, hey, I'm an actor and I'm forgetting about myself and promoting my own career. Here I am, I'm promoting careers of 700 filmmakers. But then it gives me a reason to get up every morning and do something. So I'm very, very grateful. And thank you all for filmmakers for doing what you do. All right. Any more comments on the festival or how you came across, and what new things you are preparing for us? New projects that you may be involved in.
I mean, I just finished up another semester during the spring, and the students did a project on colorism within the Black and Latino communities. So that was really good. So we screened that at the SVA Theater in January. So we got a lot of good responses from that. So hopefully we'll be able to submit it again and work something out.
That's cool. That's really great to know. And more future projects, or would you rather not talk about them yet?
Or that's the problem. So yeah, but the success of this film I've been asked to direct 20 additional films from the success of this film over the past, I say, like, from April. I put this film in the festival circuit in April, and I've just been like, I was like, I want every eyeball in America to see this movie. Like, I have a very Muhammad Ali energy about me. So, but yeah, I can't. The problem is that you have like NDAs and you sign all these different projects, but they're not actually my projects. They're not my films. They're other people's films, and I've been hired to direct, which is, as you know, as Black people and as Black women directors and Black male directors, even like that just does not happen where people hire you to direct a project and that's all you have to do. I'm like, well, all I gotta do is make storyboards and shot lists. What? Like, I don't even know how to act. So um, I'm thrilled about that. But they're actually fiction films and documentaries, and I'm both a fiction film and a documentary filmmaker. And I think, but they're all dealing with just a lot of stories of people, suspense. I'm into
Yeah.
suspense. I'm into stories that, the person gets it and then it slips through their hands, so I don't want anything that is where where it's headed and where it's going. So they're all thriller suspense. That's the way I approach my editing style and my directing style with pretty
Well,
much
which
all
keeps the people wanting to watch and
Yeah.
continue and follow, whether it's a documentary or a narrative fiction. The suspense element has always got to be there because just like in drama, conflict is important to drive the action around. In filmmaking, the suspense is what makes people want to sit and not switch the channel or or go off to the next movie theater or do something else. Yeah. Right. We still have a little bit of time, or whoever wants to jump in and tell us something.
Sure, I have a project coming up that's actually, you know, developed for the past year. But essentially, along with serious topics, I also like to deal with humor because we are entire human beings and not everything is a sad tale.
Yeah.
Even with a sad tale, there's definitely a way to approach it with a sense of humor, which can be as subversive as a hidden bomb. All right. So my web series, uses humor to deal with serious issues. It's called Drama Mama News. You can see the pilot episode on YouTube at the moment. I'm doing little mini episodes because the pilot was like a full episode, which is closer to the TV model. And it's actually, I should be doing smaller pieces. That's what I learned as a result of that. But essentially, just dealing the first first entire episode dealt with like income inequality, global warming, things that you're not used to. We gave a shout out to Serena Williams on her retirement and just look forward, but it's just when you deal with global warming, just humorous, images as well as, of course, the shockingly disturbing images that we're either dealing with or trying to hide from. But I just wanted to find out, a way to put it out there because the mainstream news parody organizations marginalize Black women. And, it's kind of like you should be thrilled to be included, but not really central. All right. So I wanted to put, a Black woman's perspective centrally. All right. It's not excluding anybody else, but this is the primary focus because things like income inequality really affect the community that's, headed mostly by single women. So who are, also supporting someone else. All right. A lot of single mothers. All right. So just dealing with it from that perspective. And then, one of the things that I'm going to deal with certainly within the next month, I don't know if you watch the regular news, you hear all of these rosy economic forecasts. And you're thinking like, what planet? What planet?
And for whom?
You must be kidding.
Yes, yes. It's very important. All these stories are very important. And I like what you said about the shorter clips because the attention span has shifted. And that's what I keep saying to the filmmakers. Yes, it's true that in our festival, for the short films, we have up to 30 minutes because that's by definition still a short film. But whatever you can say in half an hour can also be said in 10 minutes or 12 minutes. And it becomes much more impactful, much more compact, and can be easier to program. So all the young filmmakers out there who are watching, if you're making a short film, try to make it short so that it's really impactful and can be watched and programmed easily. And Isaiah, what about you? What new things are coming our way?
Yes. I stay with a new project going, but I guess the biggest thing is right now, my team and I, we are developing Forbidden Fruit into a feature film format. We've written the second draft of the feature, and we're currently looking for collaborators and investors and people to, lay eyes and give us notes. And so that's what we're going to be trying to do. We're going to be trying to make this short film into a long form project, as well as a few other projects that are in the back burner. But that is the one that my team's eyes on right now.
That's great. Well, I have a couple of wonderful comments here from people who are watching us. I have Dirk Robertson, who's a long-term collaborator with the film festival. He is one of our festival team. He says, brilliant, fascinating, and that's for everyone here. And Michael Place says, a very diverse group of films. Thank you for bringing them to SRFF. I know Nadia's group is known to us, but tell us more about the number of students involved and the support you get from schools. That's a very interesting question. So how is it working out with the rest of the community?
Yeah, thank you. So with this group, I believe I had a total of, I want to say 12. I want to say 12 students. So those were the students that worked and produced this film and did everything. And the support that we got from the schools were really great. So we were always in communication with the counselors and coordinators from their schools, and they would help us and support us in any way. So for example, one of the teachers that we interviewed was from one of their schools. And so we're always collaborating with the schools as well. So I always tell the students, like, use who you know, use who are in your school, So when thinking about people to interview, take a look at who's around you. You never know who knows what, right? And so then they start to think like, oh, you know what, my teacher, my professor, they do this or they do that. So it's really been supportive throughout, with the schools and with our organization as well. We're always helping with the students, just in general, and just helping them find and do research and things like that. So yeah, we definitely get a lot of support. So I'm really grateful for that.
That's really great to know, because without any support from the community, then you're doing something on your own and nobody's seeing it, nobody's caring about it. It's not as impactful and as powerful. So I'm scrolling the festival website, because there is a lot more information on these films and the schedule and what else we are offering, the tickets and so on. And speaking of tickets, I'm going to scroll this, because we have early bird tickets right now, which are only $5. And you can get them even cheaper if you purchase the trio for $12, which comes to $4 a ticket. You can't even get a latte for $4 nowadays. So, so I bought a chocolate bar the other day and it was $2. And I'm like, $2 for a chocolate bar. And it's just crazy. So, but I could have bought instead of two chocolate bars, I can come to the cinema and watch some wonderful films and lose weight. gain intellect and lose weight. So don't buy chocolate, don't go buy latte, come to the Socially Relevant Film Festival is the purpose of this message. So we have a couple more comments and a question for Kathleen. And can you tell us about any particular Harlem-based group or groups connected to what you present, looking forward to watching your film? So if you know any groups in Harlem that are associating and helping with this, Harlem-based groups or group connected to what you present.
Sure. I actually don't know any groups that are specifically and only fighting gentrification. I mean, you have tenant groups, you have cultural groups. I mean, the irony is that, it's so needed, but people really don't have the resources or the time to deal with it. They either have to deal with, individual tenants who are being, threatened with displacement, or cultural organizations that are trying to do whatever they can to support the artists who are doing something to fight it. But, there is no money to only deal with gentrification because, of course, the real estate developers have most of the money. And a lot of the philanthropy that you see is actually somehow connected with like the big money interests that are directly involved in gentrification.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a real catch-22 because that's the other thing, you know, I'm trying to get money from people, even like the, you know, progressive people that you would expect to be able to give money, they want a cheap apartment in Harlem. So yes, they agree with them in principle, but they're also the ones who can move in and, you know, to them, a $1,500 studio or a $1,500 one-bedroom apartment, they're thinking like, wow, that's cheap. All right, whereas the person who lived there before was paying 800. So
Yeah. And they cannot afford the new prices. So it's like,
exactly, but you know, but the person with disposable income, are they going to make a donation to a project that demonizes them?
yeah, it is a catch-22 situation, but it doesn't mean that we should stop talking about it because of that. I have another message. Congratulations from Lucy Tripon, who's also one of our festival team members, and she's in charge of the script writing competition. So any script writers out there who are the script writing competition is only about feature film scripts, not only not shorts, feature film scripts, and they should not have been produced before. So we select out of them. Actually, Lucy and Michael are in charge of that, and they select out of them the finalists based on with a group of readers. They're not reading them all alone, so it's not possible. And then out of the finalists, an international scriptwriting jury selects 3 winners, first, second, and third place. And we have companies that offer them in-kind awards like Inktip and ISA and Network ISA, which are platforms where you can put your script, and producers who are looking for their next project come across these and find the script and produce it. So I also have another congratulatory note. Congrats, Nora. Oh, I'm going to show this one because it involves me. Uh-huh. Nestor Science says, congrats, Nora, for the SRFF new edition. Thank you very much. It's not an edition without the filmmakers. So let's give ourselves or yourselves a big hand. And thank you all for being with us today. If you have last minute thoughts and you want to jump in to say something in closing, please feel free. Otherwise, we'll just close. Anyone? Any takers for last minute thoughts?
Well, it's great to be included amongst people who are doing so much work on so many different, from so many different angles. We are all chipping away at the symptoms of a core problem. And definitely for Black History Month, there are so many different incarnations of the vestiges of slavery, the vestiges of Jim Crow. There's so many different branches, you know, to that poisonous seed that was planted and, you know, took all of our respective ancestors from their homeland. And we are creating something that I wish all of our respective ancestors, you know, could see. They are looking at it. They can see it. We can't see them seeing it, but they can definitely see it. So it's such an honor to be, you know, the work that I'm doing and the work that both of you are doing, and as well as Isaiah. That's a really wonderful. That's an honor unto itself. That's a great award.
Yeah, and it's a duty. It's our duty to honor the memory of our ancestors and continue to do what we are doing, because if we don't, then they will be forgotten. But if we do, their memory will live forever. So it's really wonderful that we are having this conversation on Black History Month. And in fact, the section of our festival, which is focused on Black, Indigenous people of color, is called Rejoice, Resist, BIPOC films. So we want to bring that up. So we are resisting everything that is against the current, but we are also rejoicing in the heritage and in what we are able to say and do about it. Thank you all very
Oh,
much.
thank you.
And
Yes, thank you for
also
including my film.
you.
And film festivals are fun. For people wondering, should I come? They're fun because you get to
Yes,
meet
of
people.
course
They
you should
inspire me
come.
as a filmmaker, but also just as an audience member. They're fun and they're like intimate. It's easy to make conversations with people because they're all there with a similar interest, and you get to meet people who are doing maybe what you want to do, or at least want to support in some way. So definitely,
Absolutely.
come on out.
Absolutely. And it's very user friendly, and we love our audiences, we love our filmmakers, and the filmmakers are thrilled to be communicating with their audience. And there is always a Q&A session with all the films where the filmmakers are able to attend. We invariably have a Q&A session where the audience can interact with the filmmakers. Thank you all again. And I guess I'm going to go off online now. I'm no longer broadcasting and stream.